Hello, good evening, and welcome to Camnet Television Main News. My name is Jeffrey Siambo to present. And our top stories in the news tonight: President Hakainde Hichilema urged to remove High Court Judge WILFRED MUMA from his office. The suspension slapped on Kafue Town Council lifted. Government calls for proper city planning as floods devastate Lusaka households. In international news, Russian Navy frigate docks in South Africa for drills. And in sports news, Copper Queens beat North Macedonia in the Turkish Women's Cup.
Good news, good news. The rains have started. You need to plan your future. Generational wealth is the way to go. Has grafted avocado plants fruiting within 2 to 3 years for sale at only 90 kwacha each. And ordinary avocados at only 45 kwacha each. Contact us on 0979 753010 or 0962 965 883. We are open from 8 hours to 17 hours, Monday to Friday, at Healing Word Ministries International in Ibex Hill, opposite Hilltop Hospital.
Are you looking for a prime land where to build your dream house? There is a beautiful corner plot, 50 by 47 meters in State Road area. For viewing and purchasing of the same, call SGK Property Company on 0966 610755 or 0762 166018. Secure your future by settling in a nice and peaceful area.
For immediate coverage of any breaking or latest news in Zambia and around the world on Camnet Television, call the numbers on your screen. Television, bringing to your screens fair news, impartial news, credible and reliable news all the time. Get the whole truth on Camnet World News. Television, not just another channel.
Hello again, another news in detail. Mobile money agents in Lusaka who had their booths removed from the streets to improve sanitary conditions during the Zambia's hosting of the African Union meeting in the year 2022 have complained of being neglected by authorities. In an interview with Camnet News, the agents are concerned that the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development and the Council have failed to provide alternative trading places despite making assurances. They have lamented that without booths there is a lack of security and the rainy season has affected them, saying that this is despite their making contributions to the Council. More in this report.
To ensure sanity in the city, the Lusaka City Council, through the Ministry of Local Government and Rural Development in 2022, removed mobile money agents from the Great North Road and part of CBD. The exercise was meant for the operators to be moved into a conducive area with running water and toilets, as well as keeping the city clean. However, the mobile money agents expressed concern over the issue as they have not been given proper booths to operate from. According to some, They were promised to be given proper booths once the AU summit passes, which attracted delegates from various countries and Boston Masaka, a booth operator, explained to Camnet News that the amount they are made to pay is unfair even after the booths were removed and have called for the local government to look into the matter urgently.
I'm not okay with the Lusaka City Council where they are getting 100 kwacha from us, because looking at the environment where we are operating from is not okay. We are just doing this for survival. And how do you get a taxi from someone who is operating or someone who is in moves? Because honestly speaking, we haven't heard from the government. When are they, the issue of the booth, when are they giving us the location where we're operating? I think they have to engage the Lusaka City Council and the Minister of Local Government regarding Combo so that they can talk and come out with the solution. As for now, what we're asking from them is to let us operate fully, because what we are doing is just hand to mouth, trying to survive. We don't want to go in the society just to be junks, drinking beer, meanwhile it won't help us. As you can see, there are a lot of people operating here.
Some have complained that they are forced to pay for space work to operate from even though they do not have stands. Due to the rain, the booth operators have been left more vulnerable as they do not have any shelter.
Coming through, they are saying they are from Lusaka City Council, and they are saying if you found the three of you, are supposed to pay 300. So meaning each person has to pay 100 kwacha, which is a bit tricky and challenging because you are using one thing. So I don't know why you are supposed to be paying one. That's what I don't understand as well. So local authorities please should look into it so that we are taught the right thing to do.
It is under umbrellas, our own umbrellas, and we are being forced to pay 100 kwacha each person for operating, of which we don't know where the money is going to and what the use of the money. Because back then we used to pay 100 kwacha per booth. They were saying it was for security, but as for now we are not sure if it's for security or what. Yes. Yes, because even where we are storing these things, we are being told to pay for storage. It's not free, yes.
There is over 150,000 mobile money agents representing the biggest driving force for financial inclusion. Sampa Mlenda reporting for Camnet TV News in Lusaka.
Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit, DMMU National Coordinator Gabriel Pollen, says solving the flooding problem in Lusaka permanently will need proper city planning, as most houses are sitting on drainage land. Speaking when he went to inspect the situation in Lusaka's Kamala South, following cries from residents, Dr. Pollen says as a primary solution, the DMMU is distributing powered chlorine to help stop the spread of waterborne diseases. Meanwhile, Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu, who was also at the site, has urged affected residents to cooperate with authorities. More in this report.
Floods that have hit not only far-flung areas of Zambia but also the capital city Lusaka have negatively affected citizens, with some being displaced due to their houses falling. The greatest concern has been sanitation, as most people have been unable to access the toilet facilities as these too have been flooded, with some pit latrines being submerged. The situation has also led to Kamala South Health Post being shut down. Wednesday, 15th February 2023, the Disaster Management and Mitigation Unit DMMU visited some affected places in Lusaka, among them Kamala South, Mass Media, Parliament Motel, as well as part of arcades, to assess the situation. DMMU National Coordinator Dr. Gabriel Pollen says the general observation is that most houses are sitting on places meant for drainages, leaving the areas with no drainage system, a situation which will require long-term measures. He states that as an immediate solution, the water will be directed to well-established drainage systems like the Bombay drainage, and that powdered chlorine will be distributed to prevent the spread of disease.
So what we're doing is that we're providing things like granular or liquid chlorine to help these households cope with potential contamination that's taking place in their water. But we're also encouraging them to look at ways where they can integrate in communities that are not adversely affected until the water recedes. So we are trying to engage the community through what we call stakeholder involvement. The communities are the ones that are adversely affected. The communities sometimes can be the solution to problems that they face. So we continue to engage those communities in that particular way. But at the same time, we're ramping up our efforts in order to ensure that we can avoid any spread of diseases. We are also trying to see if we can provide temporary shelter for clinical services to continue being provided for communities. But the problem that is presented at the clinic there is that we are pumping out the water. It's just the pace at which this pumping out is taking place that is not as fast as the rapidity of the water filling into that area.
Meanwhile, Lusaka District Commissioner Rosa Zulu has advised residents to give room to authorities as they correct the situation.
There's too much resistance. Other people have built along maybe where the drainage is. Yes. So when you ask them that you need to break their wall fences or what, they resist. So we are asking that may they cooperate, because if they don't, they will all be affected. The other thing which I want to maybe ask the owners of the houses is that we have seen people coming out of their houses barefooted. It is not good again. Please, let's make sure that we protect our children, our relatives. Let them not swim in this dead water.
In the meantime, furrows are being dug to reduce flooding in the affected areas. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
The residents of Nkoloma Ward 1 in Chawama constituency have petitioned the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources over the alleged illegal sale of land in the area, especially the Ngwenya Dam. The residents, led by senior citizen Charles Kafumbo, are requesting the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to investigate the alleged illegal sale of land in the ward. The residents want to know who sold the land and the dam and the current title holders and what documentation is before the Lusaka City Council, among others. The petition has been copied to President Hakainde Hichilema and various government ministries, including the area Member of Parliament, Tasila Longo.
The Honorable Minister, Mr. Elijah Muchima, Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Mungusha, Lusaka. Dear sir, the Honorable Minister constitutes, that is, we are requesting the Honorable Minister to constitute investigations into illegal sale of land in Nkoloma Ward 1 constituency. Reference to the caption matter above, we are requesting the Honorable Minister to investigate the sale of land in Nkoloma Ward 1. In particular, this case has been going on for a long time, and I repeat, in particular, the Ngwenya Dam area and the other properties along Kafue Road in Nkoloma Ward 1. We, the undersigned community representatives or workers, have for a long time observed the illegal purchase and sale of land in our community, in particular, the sale of Ngwenya Dam, and I'm repeating, the sale of Ngwenya Dam. At our meeting, community meeting held on Monday, the 13th February 2023, the meeting demanded the following: who sold the community property and in what category, status, and who is the current holder of the titles.
27 families of Chagoli, Membe and Kapilisanga wards in Chasefu constituency of Chasefu district have been left homeless following heavy rains that recently struck the area, destroying homes and crop fields. The disaster that occurred in the early hours of Saturday, the 11th of February 2023, also left some victims who were asleep at the time with body injuries. And Chasefu Member of Parliament, Mishek Nyambose, who was in the company of District Commissioner Lufeyo Ngoma and Deputy Council Secretary Enoch Ngolube, Wednesday led a team of government officials to the affected areas in order to ascertain the magnitude of the disaster. And District Commissioner Lufeyo Ngoma has assured the affected families that his office will in due course facilitate the provision of relief food and some tents. Here's a report.
Over 140 people of Chaboli, Membe and Kapilisanga ward in Chasefu district have been left homeless following heavy rains that characterized the area in the early hours of Saturday the 11th of February 2023, which led to the collapse of 27 houses. Crops have not been spared from the disaster, including Chawaye Primary School and Zion Christian Church. And Chasefu Member of Parliament Mishek Nyambose, who was in the company of the District Commissioner Lufeyo Ngoma and Deputy Council Secretary Enoch Ngulube, Wednesday led a team of government officials to the affected area in order to ascertain the magnitude of the disaster.
For now, nothing. Manyumba yagwa, mafiudi, you can look. Mafiudi yote yaonongeka, ndi yote tenzo believe amne chiwawa, but chiwawa, when you look at chiwawa, kulibe na veunga tiore kongo, kulibe. So citizen mwete tizasungira abana, citizen na future y'abana batu, mwete zala jesera, mwete zala sungira. At least government itiyangane kwa pape.
The area member of parliament who interacted with the affected families has assured that President Hakainde Hichilema is aware of the situation and is working at mitigating the effect.
Yoso waka one time.
Mundu wakabamo ndo kufuma musubi ngwe that is very important.
Ni nyumba ya bandani.
Joseph Ru.
And the district commissioner Mr. Ngoma has assured the affected families that his office will in due course facilitate for the provision of relief food and some tents in due course.
Boma ingamo wilani na kutiso tuone utikokala pali mako. Chomele ni tent kose. Kupeleka boma na chakula tumeendelea kansela tuwapalira
For now, these families will have to continue sleeping in the open space until relief is taken to them. Prudence Chota reporting for Camnet TV News.
Local Government and Rural Development Minister Gary Nkombo has lifted the suspension slapped on Kafue Town Council in November 2022. Addressing the media in Lusaka Wednesday, Mr. Nkombo says the suspension was based on allegations of illegalities and disorderly allocation of land at Kafue Town Council, of which preliminary investigations were concluded on the 4th of February 2023. Mr. Nkombo explains that the investigations revealed that there has been the issue of double allocation of plots and alleged illegal allocation of land, among other irregularities. The minister says the preliminary investigations will be handed over to the line departments for further investigations and the next course of action. More in this report.
Irregularities in the local authority, otherwise publicly known as the councils, are not new, as most of the councils countrywide have at one time been on the chopping board from the apparent ministry responsible for local government. Lusaka and Kitwe were not so long ago under the knife through a suspension which revealed irregularities involving land dealings. Most recent Kafue Town Council was suspended on similar allegations by the Minister of Local Government and Rural Development, aimed at paving way for investigations. Mr. Nkombo told the media Wednesday that preliminary investigations revealed a disconnect between the council and the Ministry of Lands, hence having such illegal activities.
Of the foregoing, my ministry will now undertake measures to ensure that all these above irregularities are addressed as soon as possible. Some of the measures will include a very close collaboration between the Kafue Town Council as well as the Ministry of Lands and Natural Resources to harmonize the issuance of plots to our citizens. This particular revelation about the disconnect between Kafue Council and the Ministry of Lands is a detail that we must check with all other local authorities, and our suspicion is that the situation is on all fours. Further, my ministry through the Local Government Service Commission will take appropriate measures of any member of staff who may be found wanting in the illegal issuance of plots in Kafue.
The council has served its 3-month suspension, which has been lifted.
In the meantime, pursuant to Section 56(3) of the Local Government Act number 2 of 2019 of the laws of Zambia, I hereby now lift the suspension that Kafue Council was set with immediate effect. Ladies and gentlemen, in light of the foregoing, I wish to take the opportunity to issue a stern warning to all the councils that the ministry will not hesitate to prosecute any irregularities and penalize anybody who is found wanting. I wish also to make an appeal to our citizens in the same manner and in the same breath, that please make it your responsibility to ensure that you follow the laid down procedures in the acquisition of land.
Sharon Kalimbula, Camnet News, Lusaka.
United Party for National Development, UPND member and Mufumbwe member of Parliament Stephen Masumba has appealed to President Hakainde Hichilema to remove High Court Judge WILFRED MUMA from his office. Earlier this week, police charged and arrested WILFRED MUMA, aged 58, of State Lodge in Chongwe District for the offense of willful failure to comply with the law or procedure or guidelines relating to the allocation and disposal of property. And Mr. Masumba has urged Judge MUMA to resign to pave way for investigations. Mr. Masumba says no one is above the law, further stating that it is regrettable that court officials would be implicated in criminal activities when they have been crucifying others. Meanwhile, Mr. Masumba has implored the UPND officials to stop rejoicing over the 2021 general election victory and start explaining government policies to the people. More in this report.
Earlier this week, Zambians were treated to unusual news on the charge and arrest of High Court Judge WILFRED MUMA, aged 58, of State Lodge in Chongwe District for the offense of willful failure to comply with the law or procedure or guidelines relating to the allocation and disposal of property. According to the Zambia Police, Judge MUMA is alleged to have expired and cancelled the title for property in Hoodrance area belonging to the Zambia Army and later offered it to the Patriotic Front registered trustees, a body corporate registered under the Perpetual Succession Act 186 of the laws of Zambia, and is expected to appear in court soon. But United Party for National Development member and former Mufumbwe constituency member of Parliament Stephen Masumba has told a press conference in Lusaka Wednesday that the gesture is a reflection that no one is above the law.
He deserves to answer on those charges because it's not an exceptional to the rule of law. I mean, the general rule is that when you violate the law, you must face the wrath of the law. And you remember that even me, when I was being tried, I had graduated way back in 2001, in 2003, you know? But I was tried after 10 years down the line. So, members say, and in Kaonde, we still use the same language.
He has further urged the President Hakainde Hichilema to remove Judge MUMA from his office so that he can clear himself before the courts of law.
And therefore, I call upon President Hakainde Hichilema to be faster on this matter, to ensure that, first of all, he must be removed from the position that of a judge. He must be suspended. He must be suspended from the position of judge, and the Kopa MUMA must also be heard and be tried by the Judicial Service Commission, so that once it is exhausted, then to me, it will be better. The problem that we have with the African politics and Zambian politics together is that people don't choose to resign on their own on moral grounds.
In the meantime, Mr. Masumba has urged UPND officials to stop sleeping and rejoicing over the 2021 general election victory and assist President Hakainde Hichilema in explaining what he terms as progressive government policies.
Let's avoid this situation of leaving the president, His Excellency President Hakainde Hichilema, in the firing range. We shouldn't expose him. The president must be the last person to speak. The president must be the last person to defend or to do some damage control after the younger ones have made mistakes. Therefore, I call upon the UPND leadership. The time to slumber, time for honeymoon is now over. It is time for us to ensure that we get back to our people, we ensure that we begin explaining about the good things. Because when you talk of the rule of law, it has to be explained in totality.
Patrick Soko, Camnet News in Lusaka.
A state witness has testified before the Lusaka Magistrate Court that former Energy Regulation Board Chief Executive Officer Butler Sitali allegedly bribed an office assistant to steal confidential documents from the company. Chiluba Mumba, a legal practitioner, told the court that Mr. Sitali was requesting minutes for the board and he allegedly wanted to use them in a case where he sued the ERB for unfair and wrongful dismissal. This is in a matter in which the former ERB CEO is charged with 2 counts of corrupt practices contrary to the laws of Zambia. More in this report.
The subordinate court in Lusaka has commenced with trial in a matter in which former Energy Regulation Board Chief Executive Officer Butler Sitali is facing corruption-related allegations. Mr. Sitali is facing 2 counts of corrupt practices with a public officer contrary to Section 19(2) of the Anti-Corruption Act No. 3 of 2012 of the laws of Zambia. He took plea in 2015 and denied the allegations before Magistrate Silva Munyinya. However, before the case went into trial, he applied that the matter be referred to the higher court for determination. The case was then referred back to the subordinate court. 9 years after he took plea, the court has now commenced with trial. Wednesday, the 15th of February 2023, the Lusaka Magistrate Court heard from a state witness how the accused allegedly attempted to bribe an Energy Regulation Board Office Assistant Emmanuel Mengo to steal confidential documents from the institution. Chiluba Mumba, a legal practitioner who worked as ERB Director Legal Service and Board Secretary at the time the offense is said to have occurred, narrated that on the 22nd of September 2014, she was approached by the said Emmanuel Mengo, who informed her of how the accused allegedly requested him to look for documents from her office. The former ERB Director Legal Service and Board Secretary, in a further testimony, informed the court that the documents the accused was requesting for were minutes of proceedings of the board. He had given the said Emmanuel Mengo a small paper of a list of the documents he wanted. She also disclosed that she had a phone conversation where the accused wanted to find out if he had managed to get access of the said documents. This was after she told Mengo to put the phone on loudspeaker after he alerted her that the accused had called him. After hearing this conversation, she went ahead and alerted the CEO and then, who advised them to report the matter to the Anti-Corruption Commission. According to the witness, she discovered that the documents of the minutes that Mr. Sitali was requesting for, he allegedly wanted to use them in a case where he had sued the Energy Regulation Board for unfair and wrongful dismissal. Allegations in the first count alleges that Mr. Sitali, between the 1st and the 30th of September 2014, he engaged in corruption by corruptly offering, and he did in fact give 500 kwacha cash gratification to a public officer, namely Emmanuel Mengo, an office assistant at the ERB, as a reward for having obtained documents, namely Energy Regulation Board matters arising from minutes of the 22nd Finance, Human Resource and Administration Committee meeting dated July 2011. In the second count, the accused is also alleged to have given the said Emmanuel Mengo 100 kwacha as gratification for obtaining the said document. The matter stands adjourned to the 17th of February 2023 for continuation of trial. Miriam Kaimba reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Health Professions Council of Zambia, HPCZ, is set to hold licensure examinations slated for March 2023 after a long break. Addressing the media Wednesday, HPCZ Registrar and Chief Executive Officer Professor Faston Goma has revealed that out of 2,000 application forms received at all its offices, all the candidates were successfully registered to sit for the examination, except for 20 who were excluded due to several reasons, including failure to meet the Grade 12 entry criteria, forged Grade 12 results, and submitting uncertified documents. Professor Goma says cases of forgery are a serious breach of the Health Workers Code of Conduct and calls for serious sanctions, including permanent exclusion from the registers. Professional licensure examinations will commence on Monday, the 20th of February, to Friday, the 3rd of March 2023 in Lusaka, Ndola, and Livingston. Meanwhile, HPCZ has since warned all those engaging in illegal activities to desist from doing so until they correct their academic qualifications.
Candidates will write both theory and practical examinations, and they need to pass both examinations for them to be eligible for getting on our provisional registers. And the pass mark has been put at 50%, and we are expecting that our candidates are quite familiar with that pass mark. Practicals will be done only for eligible programs, meaning it's not all programs that are practicals. Those that are practicals, again, the candidates have been communicated to. And these practicals will be held in several selected centers, looking at the capacity of the facilities available in those particular places. Again, candidates are reminded to please counter-check to know where they are supposed to take their practical examinations from. There will be no practical exams in Livingston, and I think the Livingston candidates have been informed so that they can travel to Lusaka to come and take their practical examinations from Lusaka. We start practicals on Tuesday, the 21st of February, and the practicals will go on to Friday, the 3rd of March. I hope I already mentioned that the theory papers will be written on the same date. That is on 20th February. So all papers will be written on the same date. The practical examinations are the ones that have been scattered over the
Minister of Technology and Science, Felix Mutati, has challenged citizens to come up with innovations that present solutions to the country's development needs. Speaking during the 2023 Innovator Awards in Lusaka Wednesday, Mr. Mutati says the startup bill, which is currently being worked on, and the ICT policy will ensure that startups in the technology sector have access to loans. 5 out of 60 innovators have been selected at the awards, and the 5 winners have walked away with varying cash grants to help them actualize their ideas. More in this report.
While Zambia has been looking to the Western world for most digital solutions, the country has had a rich human resource able to offer similar solutions, but the lack of finances has remained a limiting factor for many people, as it has been observed that most of these innovators are graduates from tertiary institutions without any form of employment. The Ministry of Technology and Science has however challenged citizens to take advantage of platforms that offer financial support, such as the annual Awards for Innovators, held under the Zambia Information and Communications Technology Authority, ZICTA. Speaking at the 2023 award-giving ceremony for innovators in Lusaka Wednesday, Minister of Technology and Science Felix Mutati says the current administration is determined to see young innovators thrive and will put in place enabling policies.
Working with a number of our colleagues in various ministries, this year we're going to put and issue the startup bill to allow and create opportunity and financial support for you, the innovators, to move ahead. And we're also launching the ICT policy, which we have concluded. And our main thrust is that there is no way we are going to slow down the pace of technology going forward. What is important is for us to be able to manage the speed of adoption of the technology.
Meanwhile, ZECTA Acting Managing Director Colin Stromba states that such financial grants will act as motivation to other innovators to put their projects forward.
The 5 projects will be provided with mentorship support through our strategic partners to ensure that the projects achieve their intended objectives and the anticipated impact. Ladies and gentlemen, allow me to also commend the innovators present here today for stepping forward with their ideas and their commitments on the program. We are very grateful for your efforts to contribute to the technological evolution for our country.
5 out of 60 projects have been selected, with one of the winning projects aiming at making life easier through creating a digital market which will enable citizens to buy any product from any market across the country from the comfort of their homes, as well as another application which aims at reducing traffic congestion in Lusaka. The winners have walked away with cash grants ranging from 80,000 kwacha to 30,000 kwacha to help them turn their ideas into reality. Zipporah Mshala, Camnet News, Lusaka.
You're watching Camnet Television News. We'll take a break. We'll be back with more news after the break.
From time immemorial, we have had different types of lighting options, from those that can burn down our investments in minutes to those that dig holes in our pockets due to constant replacement and huge consumption of our ZESCO units. Savenda Electric introduces the new and advanced electric bulb with cutting-edge technology of LED that has low power consumption, gives out bright white light, and lasts up to 25,000 hours. Savenda Electric manufactures all types of LED light, like plastic LED fluorescent tubes, down lights, ceiling lights, outdoor fittings, and solar street lights made to customer specifications. Let's live on the bright side of life by choosing the wide range of Savenda electric lighting solutions that are available in all leading stores and supermarkets countrywide. For orders, call 0962 642 490 or email jnbunda@savenda.com or pchabula@savenda.com.
Your skin is the biggest muscle in your body. That's why we make sure that Oracle is #1 when it comes to taking care of your precious skin. Oracle Pure Petroleum Jelly and Glycerin soothes, moisturizes and keeps your skin perfect. Oracle Pure Petroleum products for that perfect skin.
Are you looking for a prime land where to build your dream house? There is a beautiful corner plot, 50 by 47 meters in State Road area. For viewing and purchasing of the same, call SGK Property Company on 0966 610755 or 0762 166018. Secure your future by settling in a nice and peaceful area.
Welcome back. We'll continue with the news. Ministry of Technology and Science Permanent Secretary Brilliant Habenzu has noted that the internet in Zambia is still unsafe for many children as they are prone to abuse. Speaking during the official opening of the Safe Internet Day in Lusaka Wednesday, the Permanent Secretary says children should feel free to safely browse the internet, adding that the task to make this possible lies in cybersecurity experts to carry out cybersecurity awareness programs as one way of complementing government efforts. He further says government is in the same vein working on revising the Cybersecurity and Cybercrimes Act of 2021 to ensure that it responds to arising changes on the digital space.
To increase access to digital skills, the Ministry of Technology and Science, through ZECTA, has been running the Computer for Schools project and is also considering collaborating with the Ministry of Education to review the ICT syllabus for primary and secondary schools in order to consider coding and cyber security for children. I'm convinced that when we invest in our youth and children, we can never be shortchanged. Whatever it is that they say, whether it is within the existing companies, in their existing industry sectors in Zambia, we therefore can never lose when you invest in digital skills development.
The Central Bank of Zambia has further squeezed liquidity in the economy by lifting the benchmark cost of money for the first time in over 14 months. Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. Denny Kalialia announced Wednesday morning that the lending rates have been revised upwards by 25 basis points from 9% to 9.25 percentage point. Dr. Kalialia says the decision to revise the policy rate is meant to restrain the slide in the kwacha that is placing upward pressure on inflation rate. Recently, the central bank raised the statutory reserve ratio on commercial banks' deposit liabilities by 2.5 percentage points to 11.5% as an additional measure to minimize exchange rate volatility. The governor has, however, admitted that some businesses might not survive the tight liquidity measures while others will move forward. Recently, the central bank raised the statutory reserve ratio on commercial banks' deposit liabilities by 2.5 percentage points to 11.5% as an additional measure to minimize exchange rate volatility. More in this report.
In an attempt to curtail a slide in the kwacha that is placing upward pressure on the country's inflation rate, the Central Bank of Zambia has adjusted the monetary policy rate by 25 basis points for the first time in 14 months. The monetary policy rate is often an overnight rate that banks charge one another to borrow funds. The decision to increase the policy rate comes a week after the Central Bank adjusted the reserve ratio upwards by 2.5 percentage points effective 13th February 2023. Announcing the development in Lusaka Wednesday, Bank of Zambia Governor Dr. Denny Kalialia explains that the decision was taken because of mounting inflationary pressure stemming from the kwacha, which was weakening as a result of negative sentiments arising from the protracted debt restructuring negotiations.
Decided to raise the monetary policy rate by 25 basis points to 9.25%. The decision was underpinned by a projection that inflation is moving away from the target. You will notice in our statements we have that standing statement that we remain ready to take action if the observed inflation is not in line, projected inflation also is moving differently, and the risks that we see.
The minister has also justified the decision to increase the policy rate amidst tight liquidity by saying if such a decision was not taken, the economy could have collapsed.
In the past, we had these foreign financials who come to participate in our domestic bonds and treasury bills. They used to bring in some dollars into the market, which will help to augment the supply of dollars. This time around, what we are seeing is that they are coming on the demand side more than on the supply side. Now, one of the underlying factors to that is this delayed restructuring exercise which is going on.
And when asked whether the bank is concerned that its decision might result in some businesses closing, the governor responded by saying some businesses will pull through while others might not.
If we did raise the policy rate, there will be rupture in the economy. You will see, like I was answering to his question, the people not affording certain things, shortages will start emerging into the market. So that's why we're saying it's a balancing act. So some will move forward steadily, others may not.
For now, the country awaits to see how the interventions will help solve the economic challenges the country is currently faced with. Prudence Chota, reporting for Camnet TV News.
The Chinese government says it believes that Zambia's debt restructuring requires mutual understanding and trust between all stakeholders and joint efforts to come to the optimal solution. Speaking at a press conference on February 14, 2023 in China, Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson Wang Wenbin assured the Zambian government that it attaches high importance to Zambia's concerns about the debt issue. Mr. Wenbin says China is the first international official creditor that provided debt relief for Zambia and facilitated the success of 3 meetings of the Creditor Committee for Zambia as a co-chair. He says the data released by Zambia's Ministry of Finance and National Planning shows that the debt of predominantly Western commercial lenders and multilateral financial institutions account for 70% of Zambia's foreign debt, which should take stronger actions to relieve Zambia's debt burden. He further states that the urgent statement released by the Zambia's Finance Ministry to clarify its comment quoted by Financial Times shows the solid mutual trust and tradition of friendship between China and Zambia, and may have therefore let down some media outlets who had hoped for trouble between China and Zambia. The Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesperson says the African people are in the best position to tell who the real friend of Zambia is and who has been helping African countries realize national development. He says certain media with a hidden agenda often take things out of context and sow discord between China and Zambia. Chief Chinyama Chamkwamai of Luvale-speaking people in Zambezi district says the royal establishment already chose Willie Chinyama Kafwale as the new senior chief Ndungu the 9th. Vaka Chinyama royal establishment spokesperson Collins Sandala, who spoke on behalf of the chief, says he is disappointed with the conduct of one Luvale traditional leader who is a wife to a named cabinet minister for undermining his authority by fueling confusion in the district. He says the same traditional leader went to an extent of inviting chiefs from Angola without his consent to interfere with the internal traditional affairs to allegedly install her as a new senior chief Ndungu, which brought confusion in the district. He says Chief Chinyama is worried that such maneuvers, if left unchecked, can destabilize peace and unity in the district, which will affect development.
I, Chief Chinyama Chamkwamai of the Luvale-speaking people, would like to register my disappointment to the New Dawn administration with the conduct of Princess Sombo Dili's Pulu, Mrs. Rufuma, who has constantly demeaned my authority, even when she knows that I am the superior authority and custodian of all the Luvale chiefs. It is in the public domain that Princess Sombo Dili's Pulu, Mrs. Rufuma, has decided to disregard the appointment of Chinyama Willie Kafwale as Senior Chief Ndungu number 9, whom I installed on the Ndungu throne as custom on the 4th of September 2020. In addition to this, she has gone to the extent of inviting chiefs from Angola without my consent to come and cause confusion and also to interfere in our internal traditional affairs, a move to destabilize our peace and unity in our district.
We'll take a second and final break. Join us for more news after the break.
Are you looking for a prime land where to build your dream house? There is a beautiful corner plot, 50 by 47 meters in State Road area. For viewing and purchasing of the same, call SGK Property Company on 0966 610755 or 0762 166018. Secure your future by settling in a nice and peaceful area.
Welcome back. And now in international news, the warship named Admiral Gorshikov docked in Cape Town Monday on its way to Durban, where it is scheduled to take part in drills with the South African and Chinese navies. Meanwhile, a bus in northern Liberia is traveling from school to school to teach schoolchildren and women how to use computers. For more in international news, here's a roundup.
The warship, named Admiral Goshkov, docked in Cape Town Monday on its way to Durban, where it is scheduled to take part in drills with the South African and Chinese navies. The exercises will take place from February 17th to 27th off the port cities of Durban and Richards Bay. A section of South Africa's political opposition has criticized the drills due to Russia's role in the conflict in Ukraine. The government has defended the drills as necessary for sharing operational skills and knowledge.
In northern Liberia, a yellow bus is traveling from school to teach students how to use computers. The idea is the brainchild of Jeremiah Lloyd Cooper, a 36-year-old information and telecommunications technician. The project began last November, and so far, the founder claims it has reached 1,000 students.
I graduated from high school actually with no basic computer knowledge. I didn't even know how to power on computer, but I went on to choose to study information technology. At a university level, I didn't know how to type, and it was humiliating, experience. So ever since, my dream has been to be able to extend computer literacy to children graduating from high school.
The project is funded by the United Nations Development Fund through Jeremiah's startup, Newbury Tech Hub. The objective is to reach not just school children, but also women.
For each time we reach this new community, the momentum is high. Students are eager, they want to learn, and they even reach for more of our mobile computer lab, reaching them fluently. I just say frequently.
Computer teaching organization come to enlighten our mind on computer knowledge. Okay. Help you all to learn about computer, how to do our work fast on computer.
According to the World Bank, Liberia is lagging behind in terms of internet. Only 26% of its population used it in 2020.
The Tanzanian government has banned a popular series of children's books from schools in the conservative East African country, claiming they violate local cultural norms. Education Minister Adolf Mkenda announced Monday an immediate ban on the Diary of a Wimpy Kid books and said the government was monitoring libraries in both public and private schools to make sure they were not on their shelves. It was not immediately clear what content in the series of illustrated books by U.S. author Jeff Kinney that followed the life of a schoolboy had offended the authorities. The minister also listed other banned books, including Sex Education, A Guide to Life. Last week, President Samia Suluhu Hassan met university student leaders and asked them to be careful with some imported culture without elaborating. Her comments follow remarks by a senior member of the ruling CCM party, Frank Haule, who claimed that same-sex activity was rampant in universities. In Tanzania, homosexuality is punishable by a minimum sentence of 30 years to life imprisonment.
Let's have some sports news now. The Turkish Women's Cup kicked off on a bright note for the Copper Queens as they grabbed all the 3 points in their opener against North Macedonia. The match ended 1 in favor of Zambia and 0 in favor as Macedonia got 0 as Grace Chanda scored in the 90th minute. Zambia's next match will be against Slovenia on the 18th of February.
I think our girls have played a good football, although the scoreline is not what we actually expected. We expected more goals than the 1-0 that we scored.
Oh. Okay, but
otherwise, starting from the first half, we dominated play, but we couldn't find the back of the net. Similarly, the second half, it was the same thing. We dominated, but we ended up getting a goal at the last minute. The areas of concern there is just the penetration. The build-up was good. midfield, we played well, but just the finishing, we need to actually work on their finishing. And looking at the way they played, I think they were more defensive, so we didn't see much of this. I think maybe they've got another team, but this one I think they need to improve. They have to compete with good teams. For me, honestly, I think we could have won by a bigger margin. I think the two games we need just to improve on finishing. That will be our main focus.
To end Camnet television news, the headlines once again. President Hakainde Hichilema urged to remove High Court Judge WILFRED MUMA from his office. The suspension slapped on Kafue Town Council lifted. Government calls for proper city planning as floods devastate Lusaka households. In international news, Russian Navy frigate docks in South Africa for drills. And in sports news, Copper Queens beat North Macedonia in the Turkish Women's Cup. When I look at the Camnet verse of the day coming from 2 Timothy chapter 3 verse 16, all scripture is inspired by God and is profitable for teaching, for rebuking, for correcting, and for training in righteousness. Thank you once again for watching Camnet Television News. I'm Jeffrey Ziambo. Bye-bye.